Glorious weather, in particular low humidity, beautiful sunshine, 26 degrees, so pretty warm but not humid, and that little bit of a breeze will just help the players keep cool. And of course, after the match, if you want to read the interviews the players give, don't forget to log on to the Masters Series website, www.masters-series.com. Both men, of course, are here with their respective entourages. There's David Felgate, the coach of Tim Henman, and the gentleman with the cap and the shades is Kieran Forster, the fitness trainer of Tim Henman. Tim's wife, Lucy, is also here in Cincinnati, but she's working in television herself, so she's behind the scenes. That's the Henman camp. Thomas Enqvist also has quite a group with him. There's Mikael Strippel, his coach, and also here with Thomas this week is his elder brother Tobias, and Thomas's girlfriend who we saw right at the start of the program, Karine. So we're virtually ready. Let's have a quick word from Freeman Miller.
Well, I think the route through to this final has been somewhat easier for Thomas Enqvist. Not only has he lost fewer games than Henman, but he's also played really inferior people. If you average the players that Enqvist has beaten in this tournament, he's played players with an average of 53, whereas Henman's played players with an average ranking of 36, and yet he's lost just the 12 more games than Enqvist. So I think undoubtedly Henman coming in the player in form.
It's best of 3 tie-break sets. Enqvist to serve the final in Cincinnati.
Vote.
Neither player lost his serve in their semi-final. Of course, Henman taken to 3 sets.
Well, clearly that's got to be the play for Henman. He's got to be looking for every opportunity to press forward.
Just as he did against Curtin, went into the net so many times against the Brazilian. Just to emphasize that point, Henman went into the net 110 times against Curtin, whereas Enqvist, I know it was a shorter match, but he went in 10 times against Clement.
Well, the backhand passing shot was one of the reasons why Henman beat Sampras the other night.
And it's a classical shot. It's 2 shots really on the backhand. It's that slice that he used first, and then it's the drive. And of course he has to tell himself that when Enqvist comes in, it's a reluctant Enqvist to the net. He doesn't want to be too fearful of Enqvist's volley, and therefore he can be really steadier on the pass.
Well, great ground stroke play from Henman, and he has an early chance to break.
30-40.
Didn't have to save any break points against Clement.
Deuce. Advantage Enqvist.
First ace. Of course, that's out wide. We all know that the serves down the centre are show up fastest on the speed gun.
Game Enqvist. First game.
Well, Enqvist will be boosted by holding from breakpoint down. Of course, we had that extraordinary opening set, didn't we, yesterday in that Henman Querten semi, in which both men had 4 break points, but no breaks, and then the 13-11 tie break.
And I'm pleased to say I think the quality of the match so far, I know it's very early days, but it certainly far exceeds anything we've seen in the night play the previous 2 days, in which Enqvist has been involved, of course. This much more matching the Curtin-Henman match. And as you say, David, I think Enqvist will take a lot out of that game because he seemed to serve pretty well. His percentage was over 60%. He had the ace. He only served 4 aces against Clement.
Love.
It was just long, but what a point.
Well, that's as well as I've seen Enqvist move for a long time. I don't think I can blame Henman here for just patting this ball, because there seemed to be a lot of open space. It's just that Enqvist had anticipated it and then came so close. The movement would have helped Enqvist just to get rid of that early stiffness, perhaps, even though you try and come onto court all limbered up. There's inevitably a tension.
There's something disturbing Henman.
Love.
Henman's forehand looking reassuringly good. Remember those approach shots in the opening game. With both players, it's the shot that can just break down.
An early example of just how tight, how taut the nets are here. We get these high bounding balls off them.
Game.
As you were saying, Phil.
And even though it wasn't a particularly important point, that's very often, particularly where Enqvist suffers. Those soft shots mid-court, which really top players ought to put away.
Henman's opening service game is a love one, 1-all.
Love 50.
Quite often we see Henman using a short, quite deliberately short return. Not a bad idea against Enqvist. He's not a great mover up to the ball.
That's right. It's where Enqvist often suffers behind returning second serves. Just doesn't move the feet quite well enough. He's actually been doing it pretty well here so far.
Love 30.
This is the more worrisome side as far as the sun is concerned, this northern end.
Yes, Henman admitting yesterday he really had to change the ball toss sort of halfway through the match to cope with it.
15-30.
Well, he'd been playing with such caution and such depth, which of course didn't allow Enqvist to really do a lot with the ball, and then suddenly, I suppose, felt that love 30 he could afford to take a chance.
That was an opportunity. Mentioned that Henman would be the first British player to win this tournament. The Swedes dominated in the 80s. It's Wilander winning the title 4 times, Edberg twice. They met in the 88 final, which is the last time there was a final without an American in it.
Well, it's strange. Suddenly, the confidence just seems to have snapped a little bit as a result of taking that chance and that love 30 point. I feel he has to take chances, of course. I don't think he's going to win the match unless Enqvist plays as he's been playing the last couple of days, and that certainly doesn't look likely. So Henman has to take chances.
Deuce.
He's a bigger man than Henman, and he's not as nimble. Henman's speed about the court, I think, has been better this week, and Kieran Foster, his trainer, confirms that. He thinks it's the best he's moved ever.
Advantage Henman.
First double fault of the match brings Henman another chance to break.
Been a bit of a problem for Enqvist this year. He's averaging 5 double faults a match, which is quite a bit higher than usual.
Deuce.
Well, he'd be annoyed with the way he's played the 2 break points. The big difference yesterday in the Curtin-Henman match and those 8 break points in the first set was that both men saved them positively with big serves and that sort of stuff. But particularly on that second one, Henman had a real chance.
Advantage.
While continuing to take a bit of a risk on the second serve, really hitting it quite hard. And this is the shot that sometimes just falls away. But everything there was so correct.
Game. Enqvist.
So again, Enqvist holds from break point down.
Enqvist leads
And
2 games to
2-1.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mercedes-Benz, the worldwide sponsor and official car of the ATV Tour, welcomes you to the Tennis Masters Series, Cincinnati.
So Enqvist ahead by virtue of serving first, but Henman will know he's had chances. And look at those unforced errors. That would be slightly worrying for Henman in his camp at this stage.
I think so, and I think why there are so many of them comparatively is that he's actually allowed himself the chance to make the errors. I think he's playing a little defensively, whereas in the first game he was really looking to attack from the start, giving Enqvist no time to settle down. Now it seems to me he's suddenly developed a respect for Enqvist's passing shots, which frankly I don't think is justified at the moment. So he really needs, I think, to take the ball just a little earlier to keep pressuring Enqvist, give Enqvist less time to settle down.
So Tim Henman has had the early opportunities, but hasn't been able to capitalise on the 2 break points, and Enqvist leads 2-1.
Time.
I suppose there's 2 ways of looking at it. The positive way, well, at least I'm creating the chances.
Oh, sure. You've got to take the positive out of it. The balls that they use at the US Open, and Henman actually is a US Open baby in many ways. He was born in '74, just during the US Open, the year James Scott Connors beat Ken Rosewell 1-1, but Rosewell was 39 years old and Connors was 22.
First ace from Henman. And his fastest serve of the match so far, 119. He's capable of cranking it up quite a bit more than that.
So 17 aces against Quirton, but a long match. 17 service games plus the tiebreakers.
Left. First serve. All.
Thomas Enqvist just looking at Enqvist for confirmation of Enqvist putting 2 fingers up with a very narrow gap, as if to say, well, it was out, but only just.
Unlike umpire Grolotti the other day, who wouldn't tell Kafelnikov how far out the ball was. He was virtually saying, find out yourself, mate. On the other hand, he may not have known. He just knew that it was out and went for the linesman's call.
That will give Henman a boost on the forehand, having missed a couple. That was a terrific one.
40-50.
I very often think Enqvist is a slightly better returner of first serves, relatively, than second, but he does seem to be moving the feet better today.
Henman wondering whether the serve might have been long.
40-30.
Certainly close, but beautiful bit of returning by Enqvist, just bending over slightly.
Game. Henman. Two games all.
Oh, I like the pigtails with the tennis balls. That's very novel.
Looks like something out of a comic, doesn't it? Little Orphan Annie.
Yes. I was actually thinking of the tune Sisters. 2-all first set.
50.
Well, you've mentioned over the years, Fru, that sometimes the Henman slice can be a bit wobbly, and it's very wobbly at the moment.
Yes.
Extraordinary ball toss that was. Low and way out to the right. He had to go chasing after it. Not much chance of getting it over. Ooh, that was desperately close. Enqvist has confirmed the call.
Yes, he just seemed to have a little too much left arm in this for the two-hander. I think just pulled it wide. Yep. Just wide. Good call.
Great shot. Nothing wrong with the Henman approach. He's being more positive again in this game.
30-50.
Yes, and that's when I think the return is so much more crisp when he is a bit more positive. He tends not to make as many errors, but Enqvist is really hitting the ball in the middle. Of course, he needs to.
40-50.
And I think what this says about Enqvist is, as you were saying earlier, David, this is a man who's played a lot of finals, won them over the years, has got perhaps a greater store of inner belief in himself at this level than Henman has just at the moment.
Now there was the slightly shorter approach, quite deliberately so, and effective.
40-50.
Really has got such a facile touch at the net, both forehand and backhand volleys. And he's making a few more steps to the forehand volley now than he used to. He used to have to lunge a lot more to them.
Enqvist.
The first service game in which Enqvist hasn't had to save a break point.
3 games to 2.
He leads by 3 games to 2 in the first set.
Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, we direct your attention to the southeast corner of the stadium. To section 216, which is
Yes, he
located
really is
just
playing so much better than we've seen him over the last couple of days. But as you point out, Fru, sometimes it's determined by how well you need to play. If you're not playing very well, but you're winning 2-2 as he did last night, so what?
Exactly. It's, I suppose, case 2 of, as they say in this sport and many other sports, of peaking too soon. Why on earth play particularly well against Vicente and Clemor when you don't have to? Why play your best tennis there? Save it for when you need it. And he certainly is, I think, both he and Henman delighting the crowd. Many of whom, of course, might have been here during the night sessions, which have been comparatively disappointing.
Thomas's brother, Tobias, elder brother, has been supporting him here. Thomas, who lives and works in the United States. The fans are enjoying themselves in the sunshine. Lovely curved lines in the stadium, almost like an oval. Reminds me a bit of a velodrome or a NASCAR circuit with the banking. And lovely to see it's virtually full to capacity. There are just 1 or 2 empty seats I noticed in some of the sponsors' boxes. Perhaps to say no American in the final, so we're not going to come. Turn to the garden, play golf or something else.
It's funny how we're reminded of things. It reminds me a bit of the old De Beers Stadium in Kimberley, that on which they played both cricket and cycling. Cycling was always a big sport in that part of South Africa.
Well, Henman having a long look at that one. Enqvist nodding in approval. Now Enqvist getting hold of a second serve.
Yes, he's only winning 51% of these this year, Enqvist, and But as I said earlier, he's just moving that much better, and it's making all the difference. Really is raising his game.
On the line. Enqvist looking down, one or two people booing him.
15.
But the fact that Enqvist isn't querying it, he's just got that sinking feeling.
He was in court, you see. He was trying to play the soft shot to Henman, then crept into the court, and this actually went behind him smack on the line, no doubt about it. He just wasn't in a good position either to play it, or certainly not to see it either.
Anticipating, of course, the stop volley from Henman.
Henman staying back on the love 15 point. That's due to Henman's return, Enqvist's return on the first point.
15.
First double fault from Henman.
Served 7 against Curtin. He's averaging about 3.5 a match.
Well, suddenly Henman's first serve percentage dropping. Used every inch of the service box there, and Enqvist giving the service line judge a long stare.
It's the combination, isn't it? It's what he thought might have been a bad call on that one that went behind him. That one was certainly very, very close. A little bit of luck maybe for Henman.
Henman's fastest serve of the match.
Really got up well to that. It's so important, of course, to reach up, make the most of your height, really extend through the serve.
Game. Henman.
Henman comes through his first service game in which he was under any sort of threat, 15-30 down. So sort of parity established, you feel now. Henman had the early chances, but Enqvist now very much on an even keel. We're looking for the first decisive push.
Love 50.
And he's continuing to risk quite a bit on these second serves, 105 miles an hour. Well, it all seemed to happen in slow motion there. A little delay perhaps by Enqvist before he played his shot. I think it was a change of mind from the previous shot that he'd played to one hitting more with power, and you can see Enqvist forcing Henman just to delay his approach to the forehand.
Here's a clever shot. The wrong-footing one.
30-50.
Much more typical of Enqvist, really driving this, taking it inside the court. He hasn't got a long backswing on that two-hander.
There was the opening there down the line.
Game. Enqvist. Enqvist leads 4-3. Ball change.
Enqvist starting to hold serve much more comfortably now and leads 4-3.
Children's Hospital Medical Center, thank you for your support of the Tennis Masters Series Cincinnati. For 26 consecutive years, the tournament has benefited Children's Hospital.
Ahead.
Last year's gift,
In the middle of that last game, you spotted something.
Well, I think he's taking chances. He's taking chances on his second serve. He hit one in this game at 108 miles an hour. He's also taking chances, which I think is fine. Look at where he's playing his forehand from. He's run all the way to the to the outside tram line, leaving a lot of court for Henman to go into. But just because of the quality of the shot, he's just giving Henman a little less time to play that shot. It's a risk-taking. But he feels, I suppose, and it's probably a subconscious, innate feeling that if you're going to win big matches like this against really quality opponents, you have got to take chances.
His particular way of keeping cool. Not a bad way to pour some cold water over you. The Brits have made it to Cincinnati. First time they've had a Brit to support, as we since 1977 when we mentioned Mark Cox, and it's a long way for the Swedes to come too, I guess. They'll be enjoying their summer break. That's what they're playing for. Waterford Crystal have sculpted these beautiful trophies in the shape of the Masters Series shield. Plus the small matter of $400,000. Not that either man needs the money too much. Enqvist's career earnings $6.8 million before this week, and Henman's $5.2 million. And then you add on all the commercial contracts they have, the appearance money, exhibitions, and so on. Not short of a bob or two. Henman has new balls in his hand.
Quickly, please.
And he'll serve at 3-4.
First.
Two men who, in their own way, have been really inspired by Borg. Borg was winning his Wimbledon titles when Henman was a young boy growing up in England. And, of course, being Swede, winning them at an impressionable time in Enqvist's youth.
30.
Henman moves ahead in the aces count, 3-2. And suddenly his first serve percentage, which had dropped below 50, has moved back up above it.
Served 66% against Curtin, which is remarkably good for Henman. Last year he was only 55% first serves in.
David Felgate, Tim Henman's coach, was saying earlier that one of the things they were going to use was the slice to keep the ball low against Enqvist, but so far Enqvist has coped very well with it. Well, that's another very fine point by the Swede.
I thought it was such a good half volley pickup by Henman that he was going to win the point, but he's obviously decided that Enqvist is going to wrong foot him here, and Enqvist just going for the obvious. Decides, I'm not going to fool around, there's a bit of an opening, I'll just push it back into that space. That's where the short swing really helps, and of course the two hands, you just have that bit more power on a shorter swing.
Second serve. Game, Henman.
Again, Henman creeping in late in a decisive volley.
4 games all. Luck.
With a little change of tactic from Henman, driving through the return, but went straight back to Enqvist, and of course Henman had less time to recover.
And too, I think Enqvist is rather happier with a bit more speed on the ball, providing of course it's not away from him but coming to him as it did. Well, the Twins really enjoying a rally which showed Enqvist terrific movement and Henman's ability to finish off. Look how he closes in on the net here and makes just that little bit of extra step on the forehand, which means that he can cover around the side of the ball.
(40-50).
Third ace from Enqvist.
Game,
He
Enqvist.
acknowledges his good fortune off the net.
Enqvist
but
leads 5 games
Still
to
showing
2.
the shots that we haven't seen from him so far this week. 5-4 Enqvist leads. Have a look at that last one again, Tom. Well, it is the classic confrontation, and Henman wanting to move forward at every opportunity, but Enqvist is coming up with some interesting answers.
And I think he deserved this because he's played a few in the match already and played them pretty well, where he's slowing down the backhand a lot instead of just hitting with outright power. He's telling himself, well, if Henman's going to anticipate that, he's going to have to play a very low volley, and I'm going to look for perhaps the stop volley. So it's not just blasting Enqvist, it's subtle Enqvist as well today. But more importantly, it's good Enqvist.
Located at the main entrance.
Yes, of course, Thomas Enqvist got up to number 4 in the world rankings, the old entry system rankings at the end of last year. A man who's perhaps not done himself justice in Grand Slam tournaments, but a very fine player. The first 9 games of the final have gone with serve, just the 2 break points early on for Henman. But now, as a result of losing the spin of the coin, the added burden for Henman of serving to stay in a set. Hasn't lost his serve though, Henman, since the first game of the 3rd round when he lost his serve to Pete Sampras. Didn't lose it again in that match. Hasn't lost it in the quarters or the semis. No depth in the Henman forehand, and Enqvist takes full advantage.
Love 50.
Yes, again, good power. A little bit of a roll there to give himself the control. Here, flattening it a lot, playing it quite close to the body as he tends to do. Henman's second final, of course, on American soil. He lost in LA a few years ago to Andre Agassi in '98, whereas Enqvist really has played a whole host of tournaments in the States and won a few titles. One in Schenectady and Philadelphia, that terrific indoor event. Pinehurst, North Carolina, Indianapolis, where they go to next week.
15-30.
Henman's second double, and the second time he's found himself down 15-30. Well, excellent judgment from Henman, because Enqvist clearly thought he'd made that, but it was clearly out.
Yes, I don't know how you can think that. Trying a single-handed return. In many ways, that serve, that slice serve, is the equivalent really of a sliced approach, because it does tend to keep a little lower and hit with pace. It's not that easy for Enqvist to dig it out.
Game, Henman. Five games all.
David Falgate in pensive mood as we reach a critical stage of the match. 5-all first set. Was in a best of 3 set final, the winning of the first set that much more significant than in a best of 5.
Yes, just to reinforce that, and really it applies to a lot of tournaments. They've played 32 finals here since Open tennis began in 1969, and they've had, of the 32, 22 have been straight sets finals. So that first set, even between players of equal caliber, very important. towel. Well, it's a point that Enqvist should have won because he played a ball that was going, I thought, quite a long way out. This one here really was going out.
Thank you. 15 all.
Perhaps a combination of doubt as to whether he should play the other one. Of course, if you are in doubt, you should actually hit out rather than leave.
Again, going for a second serve over 100 miles an hour. It is consistently the pattern of the match. Clearly something decided in advance. Knowing that Henman is going to chip and charge if second serve is in any way short.
Of course, having lost that point at the net, a point that he really should have won, it'll further discourage Enqvist from covering that part of the court.
Well now, the big chance for Henman. Two break points. Not quite enough on the approach.
30.
Yes, the sort of approach you can get away with against many players, but not with Enqvist and the sort of form he is in. And here again, a good player, a very good player, raising his game. The first time Enqvist made a first serve in the game.
No, it's wide.
Just falling away from that, which is why it drifted way to the left. He hasn't used that shot much. It's a shot I thought he could have used a lot against Curtin. Of course, he didn't need to in the end. He won. Shot that Stefan Edberg used to use so well.
Henman having a little look on the second serve.
Game.
Some more chances slip away for Henman.
Enqvist leads 16-5.
And he will have to serve to try and force the tiebreak. Enqvist at 6-5. And I just sense at the moment, Phil, that Henman is tensing up a little bit when he gets the break point. Not making the decisive strike.
And I think it can only obviously be due just to a little lack of confidence, which is difficult to explain when he's had the week he's had, beating Sampras for the first time. I thought that really would be a milestone in his career. Well, it may yet turn out to be, because he's certainly winning his serves a little bit more comfortably than is Enqvist. But I think just needs to be a little bit more crisp, a little bit more determined to just hit through the shot perhaps a little bit more, even if it's a slice. He's just got to try and ram it, stiffen up, as it were, in muscle and really hit it hard.
As always, head down, looking at the strings, fiddling with them. Well, there have been 4 break points in this opening set. This man has had them all, but no breaks. And he, for a second time, must serve to stay in the set.
Stand right here and
Time.
57 first serves in, Henman. Enqvist down at 40.
Well, it wasn't a bad idea, the execution there.
50.
Well, such a good opportunity, and of course with hindsight it's easier to say he should really have just rammed that. He had all the time. It's a good idea occasionally to lob the net player, of course. I think Henman can safely deduce that there's unlikely to be a lob again from Enqvist. So if he does come in, he might feel that he can crowd.
Oh, wow. That's a brilliant backhand from Henman on the stretch.
30, 50.
Well, this is where just that little bit of extra speed that Henman seems to have, let alone the talent, of course. He's always got some of the best hands in the game. Even Sampras really could not play a shot like that with the regularity that Henman does.
Six aces to 4 in favour of Henman. At this stage of the match, each man has won 37 points.
Henman. 6 games all. Tiebreaker.
Well, Henman's lost 8 points and he's 9 points in his serve, and Enqvist 14. So theoretically, he's had the better of the set.
He's had the slightly better tiebreak years as well, but frankly, it's what happens now that matters.
Enqvist.
Well, trying to play that short one from a little too far back in the court, really. Almost trying to play a drop shot rather than the short one. And Enqvist was thinking of going in there, wasn't he? And then decided, hey, no, that's not for me.
Last Swede to win this title was Stefan Edberg in 1990. With Brad Gilbert. Now, of course, the coach of Andre Agassi in the final.
One all. First.
Henman, of course, played a tiebreaker yesterday to finish off against Curtin. Enqvist's last tiebreaker was the first round here when he beat Andrei Pavel, the Romanian, 7-6 in the third. A real battle against the talented Romanian.
Two, one. Henman.
Obviously very different strategy. Henman into the net 36 times, Enqvist 7, and the Enqvist success rate there suggests why doesn't come in too often.
2-all.
Well inside. The second serve of Enqvist might well be a factor. That is, if he hits them. And this tiebreak hasn't hit one yet. But given that he's been hitting that second serve so hard.
Enqvist.
Went for that one as well, 104 miles an hour. Henman will be disappointed not to have made the volley. Just, I sense at the moment that Enqvist is playing better than in the rest of the tournament, and Henman not quite as well.
Well, he had a good long sweep at the ball. He actually hit it pretty soundly, which is why he's a little concerned that it might actually have been in. In fact, it was quite well out.
Another look at the Enqvist entourage: coach, brother, girlfriend, from left to right. And David Felgate. I don't think he's saying his prayers, even though it is a Sunday.
Well, it hasn't been too sunny just for a while. There are a few clouds above covering the court, but nevertheless Henman will be a little more pleased, I think, serving from the southern end. Sun not a factor here, should it come out.
There's the first point against the serve. Off a 17th unforced error of the match for Henman. Almost twice as many as his opponent. 9 unforced errors from Enqvist. Second serve, 107, set up what for most players is an easy shot, but not for this man.
It's strange, isn't it? He's been playing a super match, really, saving the break points, playing those mid-court shorts with greater ease, and yet on the big point, which that certainly was, missing a sitter.
Would have been 3 set points. Instead, we're back on serve.
Leopards try and change their spots, but they just never quite achieve it, do they?
Never become tigers. The next point will decide who has the first set point. Ooh, that was a very low ball toss. He was lucky to escape with that, and I think the fidgeting from David Felgate tells you he knows that. Oh no!
6.
Well, he made the adjustment, but double faults were crucial factors in the tiebreaks yesterday. 3 from Henman in the first tiebreak, Quirton starting the second with a double fault, and it's set point to Enqvist.
football kid moving.
Enqvist has the set
Games to 6.
after 59 minutes. Takes the tiebreak, 7 points to 5.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mercedes-Benz now offers free limited production.
Well, I suppose you could say that Enqvist stole the set, given that Henman had the break points, but I'm not so sure.
No, quite. Henman playing a good set, but I think, like you, that Enqvist just raised his game at the vital time. And there he was, playing that same forehand that he'd missed, which would have given him 3 set points earlier, just a couple of points earlier, and faced in this situation, playing another forehand in a very similar position and bringing it off. Because even had Henman missed it, it would have landed in, so Enqvist doing it all right on the biggest point of the first set.
So Thomas Enqvist kept his nerve really well. The second serve held up superbly in the tie-break, and again, it can't be coincidence that Henman keeps serving doubles in tie-breaks. The first set is Thomas Enqvist's. These were the statistics. Enqvist getting away with a very low first serve percentage, but many fewer unforced errors, a couple more winners. So he's got a +6 in that category. Henman a -4, and of course Henman will rue those 4 break points.
Yes, just didn't grasp the nettle, did he? And though Enqvist played them pretty well and served very well when he was forced really to make the saves, he just seemed slightly more comfortable, given the way both players have come into this final. Slightly more comfortable with the fact that he is in a very big Masters Series final. A man who's much more used to it. He's been in them, won them before, whereas for Henman, his first ever Masters Series final.
A lot of people getting up and stretching, others going out for a bit of refreshment. Well, those of us who remain settle down for the second set. Henman to serve.
Seats quickly, please. Behind the players, take any seat, please.
Oh, well, that's a start and a half.
Love, 50.
Well, a blinding bit of anticipation. Not a bad serve. Hit out at 104. You can see Enqvist having to play it right on the very edge of the alley and the tram lines.
Love, 30.
Was one of the pluses about his doubles in the tiebreak was that he did the same thing against Curtin. It's better to do it in the first set tiebreak and get it over with, but what he did do well against Curtin is he held on so well early on in the second set, which is when you expect a person perhaps to be a little disappointed. His serve held firm.
He's missed a sitter, and suddenly Henman finds himself break points down for the first time in the match, and 3 of them. Straight points for Enqvist.
First game.
And from an even contest, this is now a match in the grasp of the Swede.
Well, this is magnificent because Henman playing tactically not a bad point, keeping it low, but Enqvist just staying down on the shot. That's where it's so important. You're so likely to dig down and then lift as you try and follow the ball back over the net, and of course that's a lost point for you. Really damaging start though by Enqvist. And now of course he's got to consolidate. Well, the sun coming out at a disadvantageous time for Enqvist, serving from that end. And of course now he's won 9 successive points, including the last 4 in that tiebreaker. No, I'm wrong in that.
I think 7.
Seven.
Last
Yeah.
2 in the tiebreaker.
Yeah.
13.
Make it 8 now. Confidence just flowing through Enqvist, going for everything and making it. You're just anticipating events, weren't you?
He's got to spark something here, hasn't he? He doesn't want to dwell on it.
Game. Enqvist.
2 love games to start the second set.
Enqvist leads 2 games to love.
And now this becomes a must-win game for Henman. He goes down 3 love with 2 breaks. I'm afraid he'll be looking at 0-7 in his last 7 finals.
Yes, this is not a man who's unused to winning, even if his ranking has halved this year. But then it's gone from 8 to 4, from 4 to 8. Well, closing on the net nicely, and Enqvist just slightly pushing this and giving it a bit more air. Unintended, I'm sure.
Love.
We haven't seen much of that from Henman. He was trying to use it a lot yesterday against Curtin, that kick serve. Perhaps Enqvist just having a bit of a breather.
Oh. 30-50.
So suddenly the double faults count goes up for Henman. Went into the tiebreak having served only 2.
Well, I thought it was in.
Yeah, I thought that caught the line too.
40-50.
I thought this was a misjudgment by Henman.
Yeah. No shadow beyond the line.
Game. Henman.
So Henman stops the run,
Enqvist leads.
but he's got a
2
mountain
games
to climb
love.
now because
Ball
he's down a set and a break.
Ladies and gentlemen, Children's Hospital Medical Center, thank you for your support of this tournament. Since
So
1987,
how, with suddenly in the course of those 10 straight points, the whole vista of the match?
Enqvist is not going to come in a lot. If he does, he's going to lose the match because he doesn't like playing there. So he's going to stay back. So it's a contest of Henman, the returner, the volleyer, against Enqvist at the back of the court. And really, so often on a court like this, you'd pick Henman to win those. So he's got scope of really getting back into the match.
Thomas Enqvist sitting pretty. First set in his pocket and an early break in the second. He'll serve, leading by 2 games to 1. Keep thinking that a banana grower ought to sponsor tennis. I mean, they get all these free advertising. Perhaps that's why they don't. They don't need to.
Yes. Which brings us to diet, of course, an important element of the modern player's game. Henman's diet has been changed quite a lot by Kieran Foster, getting him to eat a lot more protein than he used to eat, which of course puts the strength back into the muscles.
New balls in play. Enqvist serving.
Certainly a good start by Henman. What I mean is he came out of the blocks quickly. He was very quick to move, looked fiery.
Judging from that reaction, a lot of the crowd urging Henman to get right back into this match. Enqvist up to 6 aces, catching Henman. Not an ace, but almost as good as.
30.
Yes, he almost seems to hit inside that, one of those away swinging reverse swing serves, for which you really need a very strong right arm.
Well, again, a volley you would expect Henman to make. Not make a winner out of it, but get it back into play.
Yes, on the other hand, it's a quality shot from Enqvist, considering that he's up against it, up against a good volleyer. The pressure's really on him.
Game, Enqvist.
Well, there was an opening there at love 30, but Enqvist slams the door shut.
Enqvist leads 3 games to 1.
Seems to be a big occasion player, Enqvist. Other than as David pointed out in the majors, just once the runner-up at the Australian. Never really done much at Wimbledon.
Henman thinking about adjusting the ball toss to cope with the sun that's back with us. That'll go long.
He's not what I would call the smoothest mover, Enqvist. He sort of plods a little way to this, but still gets there with a bit of time to spare. But then, of course, it's just caught out on the volley. I think it's a volley that Henman would have made, but we couldn't expect Enqvist to do it. Well,
30.
There's a change of uniform. Enqvist chipping and charging.
But unfortunately, he hasn't found Henman's volley yet. He
No.
hasn't been able to borrow that particular coat.
$30.50.
And who knows, maybe Henman thought, well, this chap's about to chip and charge me again. Can't face this.
Can't face the sun at the moment, that's the principal problem. Well, imagination from Enqvist.
30.
And it just helps that he's played, what, 5 or 6 of these shots in the match so far, so it's no luck that it just hits the top of the net. Henman was well beaten anyway. Just a change of pace, a subtle change of pace. The fast bowler's slower ball.
That's another volley that Henman's
30.
missed. And you can't help but feel that this is virtually a match point. It's a point for the double break. Henman staying back behind the first serve. The confidence is oozing out of his game. Well, it's flowing through this man. Just long.
Deuce.
Well, in many ways, although it's a little contrary to the way Enqvist plays as a rule, suddenly just changing the game, looking to take the net off Henman, looking to pressure Henman the way Henman's been doing him, in some ways is admirable, even though he's missed a few shots.
Advantage.
Enqvist again coming in, and he sets up another chance for the double break.
I think this is terrific because it just puts Enqvist in another dimension, really. It's a bit like a stream running through your garden. It just adds to the garden.
Deuce.
Clobbering the soles of his sneakers, his tackies, his tennis shoes. No doubt telling himself he just had to move them a bit more.
Advantage.
Well, good solid serving. Difficult for Enqvist to control it. Got to get the racket back and then forward. Brilliant.
Deuce.
Getting up all right, but not enough of the American twist. More of the topspin coming straighter through to Enqvist. You can see he doesn't have to leave his spot other than heighten himself to get on top of it.
And the backhand has been a terrific weapon for Enqvist today. That's 9 clean winners off that wing, 3 more than off the forehand.
Advantage Henman.
The depth on that serve beat him rather than pace. It wasn't a pacey first serve, just 109. This is the longest game of the match so far. 3 deuces and an absolutely critical one for Henman.
Game, Henman.
So Henman holds. David Felger, I'm sure, much relieved.
Enqvist leads
Still
3
the
games to
underdog.
2.
Fans don't forget to visit the 2001 ticket sales booth at the main entrance to
Seeing
the
Henman
ATP
jutting
Tennis
his
Center.
head forward,
Series
he knows
tickets
he's
are
got
on
to
sale
somehow
for
build from
2001.
that great escape.
And don't go home without an
And it
official
might be telling him something.
ATP Tour player guide. It has all the stats
Had the
of all
opportunity in the
players.
last
They're
Enqvist
on
service
sale at
game.
the
Love that he.
2001 ticket sales booth.
There's no doubt he's
Near
going to
the
have the
main
opportunities. And at the same time, Enqvist, of course, will certainly be kicking himself because he virtually had match points there. If he could have had the 2 breaks of serve, it would have given him that extra insurance that the players desire so much. And you were talking about underdogs. Coming into this match, of course, if one looked at the ranking, you'd say, well, Henman's the underdog. Here, Enqvist 8 in the world, Henman 16 in the world, and yet, of course, by virtue of the tennis they've played so far this week, undoubtedly, in my mind at least, I had Henman winning this match. Hadn't really taken into account Enqvist's ability to raise his game on the big occasion.
Now that, yes, have they got the Union Jack up the right way? They're not sending out the distress signals, the SOS, not just yet. But Henman could do with some inspiration. I don't know about assistance. He's got to find a way of breaking the Enqvist serve for the first time.
Oh, we had God Save the Queen being sung here prior to play. I don't know whether Oxford United have got a song that might arouse Henman.
Enqvist to serve 3-2. He also had the Swedish national anthem, I hasten to add.
50.
Sung by a lady from the Cincinnati Opera Company. And, of course, the American national anthem. It's a great tradition in the American tournaments. That's one of the most positive return points Henman's played, because he was coming in behind
50.
pace, giving Enqvist so much less time. He had to half volley the attempted pass. Well, he's missed a few easy volleys, and that was an absolute sitter.
Yes, the wrist just seemed to crumble there, almost as if it was made of putty, too malleable. Needed a firmer wrist. An unusual shot, really, by Henman. Enqvist lucky to get away with it.
That's a very considerable difference, isn't it? Indeed, Henman's come up with only 1 winner off the ground all match, none on the forehand side. Nearly 2 backhands though. Again, adopting a more aggressive approach on the return.
Yes, it can be misleading, of course, can't it, with a match really as close as it was in the first set. Henman, most of his points coming on serve and on volleys, as opposed to off the ground.
Well, getting himself pumped up.
And really giving it his all here. Perhaps figuring that instead of using the backhand slice and taking pace off the shot, he's just got to make a bit more for himself.
It's long, and Henman now has the chance to break back.
Advantage Henman.
Little trot back by Henman here, having successfully left this, having really applied the pressure on Enqvist. Now will Enqvist serve rise to the occasion, as it so often has done.
Can't get away with a conversion rate of 0.
Advantage Enqvist. Game Enqvist.
Applause
leads
for Thomas Enqvist from his entourage as he comes through another crucial test.
Yes, 2 of the biggest serves. In fact, the preceding the ace at 130 miles an hour. So his serve really coming to his rescue. And I thought Henman was just a little tentative on that one point. Early in the rally, ought to have really hit out instead of pushing a forehand.
And there he's almost flapped again with a forehand volley.
Love 50.
Slight mishit by Enqvist. But nothing wrong with that. Just guiding it, and see how short his backswing is. He's just pushing forward from about level with his waist. I can only imagine Enqvist going to make an intense effort to break here, because of course he doesn't want to happen. The last time he had love 30, he then had to face and save break points.
Well, the forehand volley, which is normally so secure, has really let him down today.
Yes, this is where the majority of Henman's unforced errors are coming from.
It's been a quarter century of them, I'm afraid. 25, 10 more than Enqvist. That's 2.5 games given away.
Fastest serve of the match at 132 miles an hour.
Game, Henman.
Henman clings on. He's just that one break of serve behind, but just, did I say? So important, isn't it? Just making sure the umbrella is over him, keeping him in the shade.
Yes, I'm sure he's internally running at full steam ahead, very hot and perhaps just a little bothered, but the opportunities are going to come again, there's no doubt about it. Just got to take them. Enqvist not going to serve him off the court. But he has remained remarkably cool. Of course, it's all very well. He's in a far better position, having won that tiebreaker. He's never a man who gets too animated on court. He says he's very restless off court, and he's a bit of a contradiction actually, because he says one of the things he dislikes about tennis is the fact that you've got to travel so much. So he gets asked, well, what are you going to do when you stop your tennis days? Oh, well, he says, I might actually do a bit of traveling.
The ATP Stadium on finals day, the match updates. Well, the service percentage in favour of Henman, not the others though.
Time.
Enqvist plus 15 in terms of winners against unforced errors. Henman's -3. That explains why Thomas Enqvist is in this lovely situation, bring a set and a break to the good.
Love, 50. Love, 30.
Well, now, it's the third double. But for the third time in the match, Henman has Enqvist love 30 on serve.
Was too sure where his return was going to land. In the end, it was a rather difficult shot for Enqvist, but as we've seen, he's been playing these particularly well, almost touches the ground with his left knee, gets down to it so well.
That's wide, and Henman has 2 more break points.
Not a first serve in the game, and with Henman constantly beating at the door.
Oh, that's brilliant, because the Henman return was deep.
30-40.
6 chances have gone a-begging. You feel just has to take the 7th.
Deuce.
Well, finally gets the first serve in and celebrates, of course, with a punched advance to the net, Enqvist.
Advantage Enqvist.
9 aces now from Enqvist.
Deuce.
And so, as so often happens, you save the break points, you get yourself into a good position, and the concentration just seeps away from you momently, and points are lost. And you've got to G yourself up. He's been using the wide serve very well.
And again,
Advantage Enqvist.
Even if it's not an outright ace, it just opens up the court, and Henman's got a long way to travel to pick up that. He needs to hitch a ride.
Deuce.
Deuce for the 3rd time, equaling the longest game of the match, which was the 5th game of this set, when Henman survived break points.
Advantage Enqvist.
A slightly slower second serve than Henman's been receiving, but so much more precisely placed by Enqvist, really forcing Henman to stretch across.
Game Enqvist.
Enqvist reaches double figures, and he reaches a lead of 5-3.
Enqvist leads 5-3.
One more game will give the Swede the title. Well, it was a wonderful lob, because the ball skidded off the baseline and he had to make a rapid adjustment. Well, Henman putting in a rare kicker. Just 95 miles an hour, that first serve. such a good shot all match.
Well, I don't think Enqvist has slept during the night. He's been up all night practicing this little cross-court two-handed angle of his. He really has played it delightfully.
Oh. 2 match points.
(15-40).
Still facing championship point.
Let for serve.
Looking for the much slower one. Does he try it again now, having let the cat out of the bag?
Let for serve.
Well, using the serve into the body, and Enqvist making the error really of not adjusting, not moving the feet, not giving himself space for the shot. Coach Stripple just indicating what ought to have been.
Advantage Henman.
Well, we've mentioned many times the ability of Henman to raise his game in a crisis, and the matches he's won from match point down, starting with Yevgeny Kavelnikov at Wimbledon many years ago.
Game, Henman.
And he's kept himself alive and forced Enqvist to serve it out. It's 5-4.
Enqvist leads 5-4.
Through, as a player, is it harder coming out to serve for a match when you've had match points, or are you able to say, well, you know, I didn't anticipate breaking to win?
I suppose you can say, yes, that was a bit of a bonus, and playing a chap with a terrific serve, and therefore I did well to get into that position. Nevertheless, I think there is a remnant just left in you, a little leftover from that last game, which eats away at you a little bit, and just destroys a little bit of that confidence that you would otherwise have. If you just played a straightforward game without the match points to come up to serve for it, I think you're actually in better shape than having had match points. It's ironic, but I think it's a fact. You just don't want to dwell on it, though. Just swallow your banana and look ahead.
Thomas Enqvist has had 2 championship points, but they've slipped away. But a crucial but, he still has the opportunity of serving for the match. Of course, if he wins, Sweden will become the first nation to capture 2 Master Series titles. Magnus Norman having won in Rome. We've had a Spaniard, an American, a Frenchman, a Swede, a Russian, and a Brazilian as the champions so far. It's funny, I was thinking he hasn't come in much to the forehand.
I think things just haven't worked his way, but as soon as that shot was hit, I had the feeling that it would be a good one, because Enqvist on the forehand would have more difficulty digging it out. We've seen how well he's been coping with the slice to the backhand.
15.
11th ace. That would be a hard count to our Penny, you're way off mic. Yes, a lot better.
Well, that's such solid play from Enqvist. A little bit of the wrong footer and then into the open court. Henman on the stretch. And even though it's not a classical, not a very good volley, he's in the right spot, as Borg used to be so often at Wimbledon behind his approaches.
Well, again, it must have caught the line. Enqvist, I noticed, with his palm down, indicating to both players it was right on the line. Drama all the way. Enqvist 2 points in the match, Henman 2 points from breaking back. It's been the story for Henman. Hasn't been able to produce when he needed it most. Third match point.
Well, it's been solid returning by Henman, and of course Enqvist just in a hurry to end things, as most of us would be, but you seldom get away with haste. What do they say? The more haste, the less speed.
Advantage Enqvist.
Twelfth ace, fourth match point. Well, I think Henman feels he won that point twice.
Yes, I think he did.
And now he's orchestrating the crowd.
Advantage Enqvist.
Will 13 aces be unlucky for Henman? To end.
7-6, 6-4.
Enqvist becomes the 7th Masters Series champion this year. Claims it on his 5th match point. He produced the goods on the day. He raised his game. Henman couldn't find the form that had beaten Sampras and Quirton. And that one decisive period of 10 straight points, in hindsight, decided the match.
Yes, a comparative revelation today, Enqvist, no doubt about it, in terms of what's happened this week. Really played some good solid tennis. That serve out wide really helping him, and of course where Henman had the better part of the early part of the match, just not able to capitalize on the break points he had in those first 2 opening Enqvist service games. That, I think, is where it switched.
Well, now we're going to be hearing from Thomas Enqvist in just a moment or two. Indeed, he is ready now to talk to our colleague Chris Bailey.
Thomas, congratulations. Looking on the match as a whole, how important were your first 2 service games when you saved break points?
Of course, very important. I mean, team is serving big, and every service game for me is important. And I felt a little bit like he was maybe the better player in the first set. I was a little bit lucky to win that one. I felt I was the better player in the second set. Had a lot of opportunities there, and I served good in the second set there. So it was 2 very tight sets, and you know, it was my week.
Coming into the match, Henman had probably had the better results, wins over Sampras, wins over Querten, but you seemed to raise your game on the day when it was needed.
I think so. I think that's what I've done good this week. I think I've been able to come up with good shots when I need it, and sometimes it's this way, it goes your way, and I'm very happy, of course.
And your second serve, I thought, was exceptional. You knew Henman was going to chip and charge a lot, and you seemed to put a little bit more speed and a little bit more spin to keep him back away from the net.
Yeah, I knew I had a good second serve today, because I've been seeing him play this week, and he's been attacking a lot of second serves, and he does that extremely well. So it was tough, but I think I passed him good when he came to the net, and I'm very satisfied, of course, with the way I played.
And Swedish tennis doing well in the Masters series. Of course, Magnus Norman a winner in Rome, and you're a winner here. Yeah,
we've been done very good so far, and I was close winning in Enqvist too. So hopefully I can continue this way.
And the perfect boost for you with the US Open coming in a couple of weeks.
Perfect for me. Usually I play good when I have a lot of matches in my body. I have 2 other tournaments now coming up before the Open. Hopefully I can continue on this run, and I think I have a good chance at the Open.
Thomas, congratulations. Enjoy the next couple of minutes lifting the Masters Shield, and we'll see you again soon, I hope.
Thank you.
I'm sure he will indeed enjoy the next 2 moments. And what's going on in this man's mind? It's now 7 finals in a row he's lost. He's played 15 finals in his career and only won 4. The trophies that they'll be receiving, the shield for Enqvist and the bowl for this man. Anything he needs to do to change this run of losing finals?
Just 1 or 2 points, I think that's it. And I think he's taken his game to a slightly different level this week. I know Sampras was not at his best, but he's got his first win against Sampras. He played terrific tennis against Gustavo Querten. So by Henman standards, it's been a really much improved week, and I think he can derive a lot of satisfaction from that. Okay, he stumbled, but he stumbled against a top tenor, a man who's done it before. And sooner or later, Henman's going to do it. He'll persevere and he'll win.
Let's have a look at the statistics of the final. So Henman doing well in terms of first serve percentage. He's served well all week, but when we get down to the winners and unforced errors, that's where the match was won and lost. Enqvist 42 winners, so what's that, 23 more than his unforced errors, and Henman with a -1. And obviously Henman will look back on those breakpoint opportunities. Let's look back on some of the moments of the match. That's an interesting way of celebrating victory. Let's hand you over to Mary Carrillo, who's going to conduct the prize-giving ceremony.
Series of Cincinnati, and you've got a special presentation for Tim.
I sure do. Tim, you've given us a great week of tennis, great matches, and we are very grateful.
That's Paul Flory, the tournament chairman.
So now I'd like to give you a finalist check for $211,000.
Thanks very much, Paul.
And now I'd like to present to you a Waterford Crystal finalist plate, and my congratulations, and all of our congratulations.
Congratulations on a remarkable week for you, Tim. This guy here seems like such a nice, pleasant fellow, but I guess when you have to face him, you're getting an awful lot of power, huh?
Yeah, that's right. It was a barrage of serves and returns today, and Thomas was too good, and I congratulate him on a really good week.
It really was, but how about your week? This guy had a couple of wins. Gustavo Kierden, Pete Sampras. You have to like your form going into the U.S. Open.
Yeah, I do. I can't have any complaints. I played great tennis, and I think I played another great match today. But as I said, Thomas was too good. I think my inspiration right now is Pat Rafter, so I got to get his telephone number. He lost in, I think he lost in 6 or 7 finals, then got in the final of the U.S. Open and won it. So that's what I'm aiming for.
All right. Well, we'll be watching this guy at the Open. Thank you so much. Now I'd like to call up our champion, Thomas Enqvist. And Paul Flory has something for you.
Thomas, this has been a great day for the Swedes. I'd like to give you one statistic. Of the 22 years we've played here, Swedes have been in the finals 11 times. Throughout the week, you've seen these wonderful logos portraying a shield and duels from ancient history. Well, we've had some great duels this week, and not the least of which was this match today. And it has been terrific. You have played great. I've never seen Thomas Enqvist play so consistently throughout the week. It was outstanding. And I'm very proud and happy, and I hope he's happy too, to give you a check for $400,000. As I talked about those wonderful shields, we have a shield to give to you from Waterford Crystal, portraying those ancient duels. And congratulations on the first winner of our Waterford Crystal Trophy, portraying the shield. And we have a magnum of Lanson champagne for you to celebrate tonight.
You have every reason to celebrate, Thomas. You came through a remarkably tough field and had to beat some of the best players in the world to win.
Yeah, I think this was my week. I think the match points will decide that one. And like Tim said, it was a very close match today, I think. And he was the best player in the first set, I think. I was lucky to win that one. But then I played really, really well, and I'm so happy to win this one.
Oh, you look very happy. You should be. Very well done. And again, it's hard to ignore the fact that the U.S. Open is coming up, and on a surface very much like this, you guys really know how to play on this stuff. So you must be liking how you're feeling.
Yeah, I think we are big, big favorites now, me and Tim. We're probably going to play in the final too.
All right. Well, let's not even go to New York. Let's just have it here. Ladies and gentlemen, your runner-up, Tim Henman, and the 2000 champion of this year's Tennis Masters Series Cincinnati, Thomas Enqvist.
Well, from a purely British point of view, it'd be lovely if the two of them met in the final of the US Open, but Thomas would understand if I said I would rather hope that the result would be reversed on that occasion. But they step forward now to have their photographs taken. And these will be the shots that will be wired around the world, and Karine gets one of her own.